Okay, this news is actually pretty major. Alright, so recently it was confirmed that the secret courtyard basement area in Roblox doors will be receiving some type of other purpose. Actually, it wasn't technically confirmed, at least not 100%. Albeit this outcome is likely based on what the developers said, but more on that a little later. This is a pretty big reveal, as theorists have always speculated that this area of the game had bigger plans in store for it for the future, and now we practically know it does. So, in this video, I'll be going over everything relating to the Courtyard Basement news, including its expansion announcement, as well as some theories as to what may be in it. So with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so as always with these types of videos, I'm going to have to make you wait for the exciting stuff until later, as I do need to explain what exactly the Courtyard Basement is for those who don't know. Essentially, in the courtyard, a pair of shears is guaranteed to spawn somewhere within the room in a small tool shed. Once these shears are acquired, they can be used to cut vines on a mysterious cellar door to open it up. After entering the doors, you'll find yourself in the Courtyard Basement, an overgrown bunker featuring piles of meat and a ton of snares on the floor. Currently, this room only has one purpose, and that is to collect gold. The Courtyard Basement has hundreds of gold hidden within its containers, and once the entrance to the room is open, it can be collected. Now, as I had stated previously, many people thought that this room wasn't planned to be just a place where players could collect a ton of gold, given its strange method of accessing as well as some of its odd characteristics. Unfortunately, this was confirmed to be the case. Recently, somebody just flat out asked the developers if this room was intended for a bigger purpose, or if it was just a gold hotspot, and the developers responded by simply replying yes. Now, as many of you may have noticed, it wasn't exactly confirmed that this area would be updated. However, if we study the situation, we can see it most likely will be updated. You see, if the Courtyard Basement was just going to be an area to collect gold and nothing else, there'd be no reason for the developers to give an ambiguous answer, as it would essentially mean the room isn't going to change. However, seeing how an ambiguous answer was given, it is implied that the room just being used to collect gold won't be its only purpose, as there has to be a reason for purposefully confusing the answer. I assume it would be kind of similar to the Herbivoritus room in the infirmary. That room, much like the Courtyard Basement, also has increased gold spawns, but it does have another purpose, that being for players to collect the Herbivoritus, which gives a health boost. So, now that we know, well, at least strongly assume, that the Courtyard Basement is going to receive an update sometime in the future, what would be in it? Well, although we can't say for sure, we can rule out a few common theories. For one, I doubt it will be similar to the Herbivoritus room in the sense that it would give a permanent buff for players to use. I think this because not only is this area completely free to access, as shears are guaranteed to spawn in the courtyard, but I don't think a free buff would be given to the player right before one of the hardest parts of the game, that being the greenhouse. I'm also fairly confident that the Courtyard Basement won't be used as an entrance to a new subfloor. This is because I doubt the developers would force players to make it all the way to the end of the hotel just to attempt the subfloor once. And given how Doors is a trial and error game, it is expected that players will die quite a handful of times in this new subfloor. So nearly completing the hotel multiple times would get repetitive over time really fast. If the Courtyard Basement had any other purpose, it couldn't be something which would have to be accessed multiple times, but it couldn't be a buff which enhances the player's abilities. This really narrows down the possibilities, but I do have a few theories as to what may be in this room. Essentially, the Courtyard Basement has a gated-off area featuring two doors behind it, and I believe that once the room does get updated, we'll be able to open this gate and access the doors behind it. As for what would be behind these doors, my leading theory is that it would be some type of lore room, a room which doesn't really affect gameplay in any way but provides further context to the story, more specifically about Figure. You see, one of the decorations seen in the Courtyard Basement are these large piles of meat, and these flesh piles are only seen in areas related to Figure. Obviously, Figure doesn't appear in this room, meaning the Courtyard Basement has to relate to Figure in some other way. A popular theory suggests that the doors behind the gated-off area were a pathway Figure used to traverse through the hotel, and although I do see this as being likely, it could tie into what the true purpose of this room is. It's possible that by opening those doors we would be able to access hidden information about the entity, as well as other story elements about the game, and I think that would be pretty cool. My second theory as to what the courtyard basement could be used for is that maybe it is some key component of opening the courtyard statue. Essentially, the statue seen in the courtyard can actually split into two pieces, revealing a hidden passageway underneath it. Now, there currently isn't a way to open the statue, but there will be one in the future. So seeing how the statue and the courtyard basement both appear in the courtyard, it is possible that they are related, and some type of mechanism in the courtyard basement would cause the courtyard statue to open up. Anyways, that was the entire video. I'm super excited for this area of the game to be updated, even though it was heavily implied and not technically confirmed. Anyways, let me know your theories about this room in the comments, and with all of that being said, thank you all for watching and I hope you enjoyed.